Welcome back to the Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling something that is, honestly, it's absolute madness. We're breaking down one of the most chaotic, complex, and wildly competitive events in Whiteout Survival, Canyon Clash. If you've ever stepped foot onto this battlefield, you know exactly what I mean. It feels like pure mayhem. Armies are flying everywhere, fuel is completely drying up, and buildings are changing hands literally by the second. But as it turns out, looking at the source strategies, there's actually a highly methodical way to approach this. So let's explore how we can transform all of that battlefield chaos into a crystal clear masterclass.
Think about this number for a second. 50,000. I want to hook you right out of the gate here, because 50,000 is the exact number of bonus points you're awarded for holding the frozen citadel at the very end of the game. It is a massive, totally game-defining swing. In fact, Alliance leaders have shared these just disastrous stories of leading a match by a comfortable 45,000 points. They ignore the middle for just the final 30 seconds, and boom, they lose the entire hour-long battle because the enemy snatched those 50,000 points right at the buzzer. It's brutal, but it really proves that absolutely every second counts.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is exactly how we're going to break down this playbook. We'll start with preparing for Canyon Clash, then cover fuel and fight mechanics, Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and finally, wrap it up with a foolproof 3-team strategy. Let's get into it.
Starting things off with Section 1, preparing for Canyon Clash, and specifically setting up your 3 hero squads.
Before you even jump in, your Alliance officers, the R4s and R5s, they're going to assign the Legion commanders. But your personal job, you need to set up your squads. Squad 1 is your wrecking ball. You put your 3 absolutely strongest heroes right here with your very best hero gear. This is your pure, heavy-hitting offensive line. Now, Squads 2 and 3, they need a slightly different approach. You're looking for a balance of attacking and defensive heroes here, heavily utilizing their expedition skills and widgets. And please notice that last point. Never use Gina. Literally, even if she is your strongest marksman hero, leave her at home. She is strictly off-limits for this event.
Moving right along to Section 2, Fuel and Fight Mechanics. Guys, this right here is the actual battleground of the event.
To actually win Canyon Clash, you've got to realize that it's essentially an economy game, and that entire economy starts with Phantom Guards. Basically, these are AI defenders stationed at the buildings. When a building is neutral, they're hostile. But the cool part is, once your alliance captures that building, the guards that regenerate over time will actually start fighting for you. Now, are they going to win against a massive enemy whale? No, probably not. But they will absolutely buy your alliance the precious time you need to react and send in reinforcements.
And trust me, you are going to need that time to manage this next crucial thing, fuel. Fuel is, without a doubt, the ultimate hot commodity that dictates the entire momentum of the match. You start the game with 300 fuel, and pretty much every action, moving, retreating, reviving, it all costs fuel. If you run out, you're literally stuck back at the bastion, unable to deploy. This is exactly why those Alliance officers and Legion commanders we mentioned earlier are just so important. They have to constantly manage Guardian appointments on captured buildings. Doing that gives your active aggressive players a massive, massive boost to their fuel recovery rate.
But how do you actually spend that fuel efficiently, without just throwing it away? Well, enter conscription. Conscription is basically just the act of healing your troops using your fuel while they're already stationed inside a building, just hanging out and awaiting the next battle. So the crucial point here is this. Healing your troops via conscription is way more efficient than just letting your squad die, losing the building entirely, and then having to spend massive amounts of fuel to revive all the way back at your starting bastion just to march across the map all over again. Simply put, if you're chilling inside a building, heal up.
All right, with our economy understood, let's look at the actual clock. The whole hour-long event is sliced into 3 distinct 20-minute phases. Minutes 0 to 20 are all about controlling your home island. Minutes 20 to 40, that opens up the massive fortresses. And then, those final 20 minutes unlock the frozen citadel. Let's break down the playbook for every single one of these stages.
Which brings us to Section 3, Phase 1, Map Control. It's all about securing your side and locking down those bridges.
Look, Phase 1 is just pure chaos. The moment that bubble drops, your alliance has to move aggressively. So here's your checklist. First off, spread out. Please do not have your entire alliance attack the exact same level 1 airport. You want to clear the neutral guards on your side efficiently. Your immediate primary goal is to rush the connecting bridges. Think about it. If you control the bridges, the enemy literally cannot enter your territory. Once you've got those secured, you send a march straight over to the enemy's island to disrupt them. But pay really close attention to that last point. Always leave at least one march garrisoned in the building behind you, because if the enemy manages to sneak in behind your front line, they'll cut off your connection entirely, and you won't be able to send any reinforcements.
Next up is Section 4, Phase 2, securing fortresses and taking total control of the battle's momentum.
Right at that 20-minute mark, the fortresses unlock along key routes on the map. Capturing just a single fortress feeds your alliance a massive 1,800 points every single minute. Furthermore, the fuel recovery rate for whoever is appointed Guardian is an insane 60,000 per minute. I mean, that is just a staggering amount of fuel. Because of this, it is absolutely imperative that you pre-position your troops right next to your fortress just before that Phase 2 countdown hits 0. You want to be able to capture it the absolute second the bubble drops.
Moving into Section 5, Phase 3, the Citadel, the ultimate 50,000-point endgame.
These final 20 minutes, this is where they unlock the ultimate prize, the Frozen Citadel. Remember that horrible 50,000-point horror story I mentioned at the very beginning of the explainer? Yeah, this is where that tension completely boils over. You see, you can only access the Citadel via the connecting bridges, and that is exactly why our Phase 1 strategy was so incredibly bridge-focused. If you controlled your bridges, and you actually managed to push into enemy territory and lock down their bridges early on, you've established a complete monopoly. They literally cannot physically route their armies to the middle of the map. You essentially win the game before Phase 3 even starts.
Finally, Section 6, the 3-team strategy, a concrete blueprint for your alliance.
And this brilliantly illustrates how to actually pull all of this off. I mean, how do you coordinate 30 different players in real time without losing your mind? You synthesize the mechanics into a structured blueprint by dividing your alliance into 3 dedicated teams. Team 1 is your heavy offense. You take your strongest players and push across the bridge to pressure the enemy immediately, securing that massive 60k fuel per minute. Team 2 focuses on defense and setup. They capture your side of the map and literally sit right next to the fortress, prepping for it to unlock in Phase 2. And Team 3? That's your flex team. They bounce between offense and defense, splitting up to support Teams 1 and 2. But their absolute primary priority is locking down those bridge choke points we talked about. Doing this gives everyone a specific job and a specific path, completely eliminating the chaos.
Ultimately, guys, Canyon Clash is just this incredibly delicate balancing act. It's all about knowing exactly when to push the map and exactly when to just sit tight in a building and conserve your fuel. If you organize your teams, if you manage your conscription properly, and you lock down those bridges, I promise you, those final 50,000 points will be yours. But if you lose track of your fuel economy, you're going to be watching the enemy take the Citadel while you're stuck sitting at the Bastion. So, to all the Alliance leaders out there, take this playbook into your next battle. The real question is, will you hold the middle or will you run out of fuel? Thanks for hanging out with me on The Explainer, and I'll catch you next time.